I gave a prophecy in October 2012. At that time, absolutely nothing in the natural could be seen how any of this ever could happen.
Jerusalem's going to be attacked, sorely attacked, severely attacked. It's going to be so devastating. This is not going to be anything like Israel has ever known in modern history. In fact, it's going to be so bad, and here's the word, she's going to be removed from her land. And I know you're hearing other things from other people. Now they are going to be removed from their land. They are going to be killed, pillaged, raped, sold, and exiled. That's a word. Now I'm also going to tell you the next one. And here's where it brings me back to the first one. Our president is going, our administration is going to turn their back on Israel. We're going to turn our back on. Where we could go in and repel the enemy, we turn our back. And then, that's prophecy number 3. Our president turns her back on Israel, and we don't help them. And I got to tell you, that makes us guilty of sin. When you could have done something and you do nothing. I mean, it's like the watchman on the wall that has been able to warn Israel. All he has to do is just warn. We could do a whole lot more than warn, and we don't do anything. We help them, and I think we take some into refuge, but the goal is to let them get out of the land, and then the land is just simply fought over. Israel's removed from land. Now here's what brings me back to number 1, and here's where I start getting involved. What president does this? Who's going to do this?
It's one thing to say, here's a prophecy, right? That this is a prophecy, and let's say here's a bit of criteria that I'm going to give you. Israel's going to be attacked. You say, okay, that's not very specific at all, right? I've talked about this before. You apologists should know this. The more elements and facets to a prophecy, the more there is to the construct, the more improbable it becomes to being able to be fulfilled. In fact, you can reach the odds of improbability. You can go to the point where it's almost impossible to have a prophecy be fulfilled. The more elements there are to it, the more facets. Listen, so Israel gets attacked. That's it's a prophecy. Listen. That's one of the things I said, but not just Israel. Jerusalem specifically. Okay, now you're narrowing it down. Okay, but not just that. No, the residents get thrown out. The Jewish residents are thrown out of Jerusalem. Now that's getting a whole lot more specific. In fact, it doesn't even end there. No, we have America, her ally, turning her back on Israel. We don't even fire a shot. And we go in with eagle wings. We just got done seeing eagle wings. We go in there and we escort the Jewish residents out. We fly them out. That's all we do. And you know who gets the help? We don't do anything. I've heard people say, no, we're going to do something. No, we're not. All we do is escort them out, because the two administrations right now that exist, that's all they want is a Palestinian state. UN Resolution 2334 to be enforced. That's it. We don't have a problem with that, nor is the entire international community. And then by the way, these are all individual prophecies, but they also become one big, large, improbable prophecy. Have you been watching what's been going on over in Afghanistan right now, folks? I don't want to even get to this yet, but let's just go on with this. And then you say the homes are going to be pillaged. It's kind of what's going on over there, door to door. The men are going to be killed. The women, the children. Yeah, the women and the children. Raped. Sold. I don't want to discuss what's going on over there. Tortured. This is all sick stuff. And it's a bunch of different, you see all those, whatever those were, I think it was 6 or 7, whatever they were, I don't know. And you got all of it, and then you're being told Islamic type tactics long before any of this could even be seen.
And under what appears, when I told you the word, was what sounds to me like an ISIS-style attack. Raped, sold, thrown into exile, killed. That to me sounds like there was no ISIS when I got this prophecy. There was no ISIS.
So I gave the prophecy that, again, I'm discussing. I gave the prophecy back when there was no physical evidence, nothing in the natural could be seen on how anything like this could even, again, I took a lot of flack on this, folks, back in 2016 of October. You don't know what you're talking about. And a whole lot worse. Had it in the book, Graph, 2012. 2016, I air it. No roadmap. You know what happens 2 months later? Obama on his way out of office. 1 month before he's gone, he orchestrated a parting gift to Israel. And he told the UN make another vote, which the international community, everybody wanted Israel back to pre-1967 borders. And he had them vote, and UN Resolution 2334 went through, and Israel, according to the international community and international law, is back to pre-1967 borders, according to the international community and international law. In fact, every settlement after 1967, according to international law, is a flagrant violation. Did you know that? See, what that did, all that was the fulfillment of Joel chapter 3, I believe it is verse 2, where we parted the land of Israel. I want you to get this. This is important because we've already got the pathway made for this. Joel, where God is going to bring everybody down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. You know what happens? He gets jealous for his land because his people have been scattered through the nations. They've gone captive, taken into captivity. God gets jealous for his land because we've parted it according to what he says. The very fulfillment. And that happened in the Obama administration. We parted the land, folks. But that was an interesting point. Even when I gave the first prophecy, no roadmap, in December of 2016, we saw the roadmap, right? Saw the roadmap. Now it makes sense. How come the land would be parted? How come the Jerusalem residents would be kicked out? Because if they wanted to enforce UN Resolution 2334, well then, there it is.
In a rare show of unity, the UN Security Council passed judgment on Israeli settlements.
14 votes in favor,
Voting that they'd become a serious threat to a viable peace deal with the Palestinians. It was that conviction which led the U.S. to withhold its customary protection of Israel at the Council, although not without much soul-searching. The Israelis had managed to delay but not prevent the vote. They felt betrayed by their ally, especially angry about condemnation of their construction in occupied East Jerusalem.
Who gave you the right to issue such a decree, denying our eternal rights in Jerusalem?
Israel has long pursued a policy of building Jewish settlements on Arab land captured during the 1967 war. It insists it has the legal right to do this, but most of the world disagrees. Halting settlements was the focus of President Obama's attempts to broker peace. He failed twice. Resorting to the UN was his final act. The Palestinians embraced this as a victory for international law.
We went from to no sign whatsoever. No pathway at all to 2 months later, a pathway. But again, being presented when I would tell people this, you know what they would say? And I get it. I wrestled with this over and over again. This can't ever happen, Steve. There's the roadmap, but it still can't happen. What was the argument? Trump. I mean, I know what Trump is doing, folks, but you take Trump out of the equation and you put the United States into caring about our own, and we have our own problems or whatever. If we go on the sidelines, they've got a green light. The international community has a green light to go in there and toss everybody out of Jerusalem the way they would like to do it. Nobody's going to say anything except us and Israel. And what if we don't say anything? So for 4 years, I had to admit, it doesn't make any sense. How in the world could this happen with Trump there? And yet I was still adamant. It's going to happen. Because when you know God's given you something, when God shows you something and gives you details, think Islamic type tactics used upon Israel and Jerusalem, the residents of Jerusalem. Yes. Think death. I don't want to say some of the stuff. Think slavery. And far worse, to to the kids and the women. But the Jewish residents are going to be exiled. Now we can see exactly how it can happen. And everybody's still saying, no, can't happen. It's not going to happen. Trump's coming back. Trump's coming back. And while these things are happening in front of us, we're still ignoring them. Right? So we went from no way for it to happen to where a roadmap could happen, then 4 years of making no sense for it to happen to where now we got an administration in there to where it makes perfect sense that it will happen. I'm trying to tell you, every prophecy in this book and that I've talked about makes perfect sense right now for it to happen. And then what do we get? We've just now had the dress rehearsal. A decade ago, I'm going to prayer. Because I want this to make sense to some of you. I'm going to prayer. I'm sitting down, and as I'm getting ready to sit down, I saw in the Spirit two timelines come together. I'm watching the Spirit. I start smiling really big. I see two timelines, two biblical timelines, one in Daniel 12 and one in Revelation 12, come together and overlap each other right in front of me. The one in Daniel 12 is 12:12. Blessed is he that waits and comes to the 1335th day. So that started, and I saw that one. I saw then 75 days later, a 1260-day marker, which is Revelation 12, where the woman is cast out of the city, and eagle wings carry her out of the city, escorting her out, basically. We're not keeping her in. We're escorting her out into the wilderness for another 1260 days where a flood goes after the woman and the earth has to help the woman. And she's out there. This woman is Israel, folks. Jerusalem is out there for 1260 days, and the earth has to help her and swallow up the flood, basically. Are you hearing me, folks? So, I mean, I know we're saying America's the ally, great, but we didn't thwart the enemy. Are you understanding? We didn't thwart them. We actually helped them get out, or at least we made sure they got out safely. And we didn't stop or prevent anything because the earth had to help the woman, or other armies help the woman or help Israel while she's out there in the wilderness. As I've said it will happen to Jerusalem is now happening in Afghanistan. And what's occurring there? The eagle wings are carrying the people out. We're taking refugees, as I believe we would with Jerusalem. I felt it back then when I gave the pride. I couldn't prove it. It's something I felt. Now we're taking more refugees that we shouldn't even be taking, less Americans even, apparently, leaving them behind, stranding them. Well, what's occurring there? What is occurring there? You got to be watching the news. Islamic type tactics. Whoever would have thunk? I wrote this long ago, put it on YouTube. As far as the Bible is concerned, this act has already happened. And the Bible, when it speaks of Babylon in Jeremiah, is the same Babylon as it is in Revelation. Excuse me. Same Babylon. If you pay attention to what the residents of Jerusalem are saying and the anger from God, it's scary. Summation. While Syria attacks Israel, Babylon's goal apparently similar: devour and break the bones of Israel. Thus the sequence: Israel first initially attacked to be Assyria, with Assyria following. Babylon afterwards punished in similar fashion Assyria. So that's Israel, Syria, and America. And while there's more, read Jeremiah 50 and 51 in its entirety. Here we see America turning her back on Israel. Even now, our administration currently desires the removal of Jews from occupied Israeli territory. Yet at this future date, Jeremiah is stating those intentions will be achieved. Jewish people removed, scattered. So shall the thoughts of the abandoned, forsaken Jewish Israelis be. And here's their thoughts. Verse 24 of chapter 51, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. He's talking to the Israelis. I'm going to render to them what they've done to you. Verse 35, and the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say.
and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. 49. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth.
If there's any takeaway from this video, you who still have hope have ignored this. This means nothing. It's 20th year, 9/11's happening. Doesn't mean nothing.
After 20 years, thousands of people killed and billions of dollars spent, the US is leaving Afghanistan. These are the final hours of America's longest war.
You hear me, people? You good people, except that, mark my words. These are something that this is a takeaway I want you to take away. When this happens, again, we went from not possible to a roadmap to it makes no sense for 4 years to now it makes sense to now we've had the dress rehearsal. You who think this can't happen, listen to me today. There's an anointing here. When we do this to Jerusalem, when we do this to Israel, my heart breaks. It's over. Did you hear what I said? When this happens, exactly as I've said it's going to happen, it's over.